But today we've also seen that it is World Intellectual Property Day, and how are patents, designs, trademarks and copyright protected. Most of the rights are tangible assets that are easily exploited by third parties. But how does the law protect those who come up with creative and individual ideas in Africa and around the world? Joining us on the line to tell us more is Karel Bredenkamp, a patent specialist. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on the AIM edition. Karel, let's just look at South Africa and perhaps what the four main types of IP that exist to date.
Well, good morning. The types of intellectual property, or the categories are roughly like you said. It's patents, trademarks, copyright and works, and registered designs. And then you can maybe add a fourth or a fifth category, and that is know-how. In other words, if you know how to do something and you don't want to file a patent for it, but you can keep it secret, and if it's possible to keep it secret, the process maybe of making the product, you keep it secret and then you sell the product, and then no one knows how you actually make the product.
As Africa's economy grows, I mean, the natural propensity is that you can also see an increase in enforcing, or the need to enforce IP rights, particularly in the African continent. I want to know from you to date, what are some of the opportunities and also the biggest challenges that exist in protecting IP?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is that to enforce your intellectual property, you need a proper court system. You need a proper judicial system because your intellectual property is enforced through the courts. If someone infringes your patent, you need to approach the court to get a court order to stop the infringer from doing the infringing act. But I must say that is improving, especially in places like Nigeria. We've had some successes, and it's improving throughout Africa. So that's a very good thing for us. And it's interesting in this whole COVID pandemic thing that people are maybe sitting at home, but they're not being idle. They actually think up new inventions. So a pandemic is really something that triggers people to come up with novel ways for making new ventilators and things like that. So it's quite interesting to see the work that we have at the moment because of the pandemic. People are trying to come up with solutions.
The theme for 2020, Innovate for a Green Future. I mean, I want to know from you, in terms of boosting business competitiveness in Africa through IP, I mean, what is the relationship between developing countries, IP, and also the creative cultural industry at large, not only for its economic gains, but also for its social cohesion impact?
Yeah, there's a lot of innovation to be green. Certainly, the solar industry is very competitive in that regard, and it's applicable throughout Africa. So we have many clients that in fact, their biggest business or their footprint is really not in South Africa, but in other countries outside of South Africa, in Africa. And we work with other attorneys in Africa and assist our clients through agents in Africa to protect their inventions in those countries.
In terms of the specialist skills that are required to carry out these types of legal, endeavors, I mean, what are the skill sets available in South Africa and Africa? Do you think they are enough?
You mean on the professional, on the attorney side?
Yes.
Yeah, no, not enough. You need to be a patent attorney. You have to have a technical background. So many patent attorneys would be chemical engineers or physicists or engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and the like. And because they need to understand invention, and after they've done that, they have that first technical qualification, they still need to qualify as an attorney. So it's actually a very long road to get there, to qualify as a patent attorney. So the skills are there are not so many patent attorneys around, and there's definitely shortage, especially outside of South Africa.
I know you briefly touched on it, but I just wanted to understand from you, where do African nations at large sit in terms of its social, political, and even economic value in protecting IP?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got a lot of growth to do. In South Africa, well, I can give you a very practical example at the moment. In South Africa, we have our patent office, unfortunately, is closed because of COVID. And it's because also it's not completely automated. However, the Nigerian patent office is open because it's an automated online system. And in the whole of Africa, I think that's almost, I must check, but that's probably the only one that's open. And if you look at the rest of the world, most of their patent offices are open. In Europe, in the US, and so forth. So it's a pity because at the moment we have a lot of people coming up with inventions because of the pandemic, but we now are forced to file the first or the initial patent applications in another country, which is to me it's a bit sad that we have to do it in another country. We can probably choose Nigeria, but now the English, the British Patent Office, told us that we can file through there just to get the date, the first date for the patent application. Your patents are on a first to file basis, so you have to get the first date as soon as possible. And now you can't do it in South Africa, so you have to go. And our first choice now is, unfortunately, to the British Patent Office that we have to go to. But the other option would be Nigeria. But for Nigeria, that's the only one in Africa. And I hope that will change very quickly because invention and filing patents there's a correlation between the economic growth in a country and the amount of patents that are filed in that country. So we really need to do that because it incentivizes people, grows the economy. Not only for making money. I had a consultation yesterday with people that came up with a fantastic new ventilator that we are in the process of protecting. And their words to me were like, they're not really doing it for the money, but they really think it can help. So they're really serious about trying to help as well.
All right, Karel Bredenkamp, patent specialist, thank you for joining us. Unpacking World Intellectual Property Day.